Are back to Africa with Gary Kean. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's been a long time since you were on 100 Huntley Street. Like, how long?
Ooh, years. I was on the nightlight program the year we moved to Kenya 3 years ago.
Right.
But,
I never really expected that you'd be moving to Nairobi. I mean, I knew Brenda grew up there, but you were so involved with your children's ministry. You were located in Nashville. You were producing all kinds of cool stuff for kids. You're very artistic. Why and how Nairobi?
Well, it's a very interesting process that God took us on. You look now at what we're doing and you can see how all those things kind of culminated and equipped us and prepared us for where we're at. Kids is a big part of what we're doing. We've recently planted a church in Nairobi, and that was launched in January. We're running about 70 people. It's a good core group of folks. But getting there, the kids ministry, the music ministry, all that really was God's preparation for this time and this place. And it was an interesting process getting there. God took us through a lot of things. There was one point where we were told by our covering that we couldn't go. This wasn't the right timing. There was problems in the national church there that they were dealing with. And it really felt like the death of a vision for us. We were just like, I remember going through like a grieving process during that season where it was just like, man, did I miss God? You know, what happened to that? I thought we were ready to go to Kenya. You know, we had announced it to the church. Everyone was excited. And all of a sudden, we're not going to Kenya. And God gave me a word in that season that was just really life-giving for me and for the vision. And he said, Gary, if you wait, more will go. And I took that word very seriously. It was very interesting to watch how God used that time that I was in Nashville and on staff then at the church to raise up others through teams and short-term missions trips who are now stationed full-time in Africa, working at Bible universities and working in regional offices. And even my time with the kids ministry in Nashville, I wrote a musical, Christmas All Over the World, and I taught missions to our kids. So I took that opportunity of raising up a new generation of missionaries and missions-minded persons. But all of that was unto getting there. And you know, God's timing is always perfect, Jim. It's so amazing. Yeah. Because even though we went through that time, it was just feeling like, man, we've missed it. I thought I heard from God, we were going. But God gave me that word, and in the right time, he released us. And now we see it. The fruit of that has just been, you know, we've got the proper covering. We're covered properly. We're in alignment. We're doing stuff, working with different ministries and churches in Nairobi. And we're just seeing God bless the fact that we were faithful to the process of getting there.
Now, one of the things you're doing, you're planning a church, but at the same time you're working with a number of other churches. That's definitely a 21st century phenomenon. I mean, there was a time, certainly in Africa, when every pastor was sort of the lord of his own fiefdom. Yeah. And you didn't really cross-pollinate or interact with people, certainly of other denominations, let alone people of your own denomination. Tell me a bit about what's happening now in that regard.
Well, you know, that's not just Africa you're talking now. No. That's really the church. But any of us are crazy if we think we can be lone rangers out there bringing the gospel to every people group. Yeah. It's not going to happen on our own. We need the partnership. We need the body of Christ. We need every denomination and parachurch group working together as much as possible. We really see it as being the city church. We're part of the city church in Nairobi. And to really effectively reach our city, it takes all of us partnering together. So we have partnerships in some of the slums with the Baptist Church. We're working with Pac University there with our training for some of our leaders, partnering all these different ministries together. You know, you've been to Africa. One of the things that churches are known for in Africa is you come to church, you wear a suit and a tie, especially if you're the preacher. Right. Well, we've got a little counterculture, and I, in fact, often preach in jeans and a T-shirt, which is very counterculture in Kenya. But you know what? Some of my best pastor friends there are in their suits, and I love those guys, and it takes the suits, but also it takes the guys in the jeans and the T-shirt if we're really going to reach the community. A lot of the folks coming to our church are people who are not attending church anywhere. And that's what I'm excited about. They're neighbors from where we live who got to know us and came in. We started in our home in a cell group, life group meeting. And when we launched the church, they came with us. And I've heard testimonies, when I saw how Pastor dressed, I knew that I could be part of this church.
Well, that's a nonverbal message. Now, one of the exciting things you're doing is working with women and sewing projects. Tell us about that.
You know, as you know, when you get to Africa, the needs scream at you from everywhere. It's like, help, help, help. And so many of them are very valid needs. But if you try to reach out to all those, you're not effective in any one. Yeah. So we really took our first season in Kenya and asked the Lord, what are those specific assignments that you've called us to? what are they? God, show us. And one of the areas that we were led to was a slum that's literally 10 minutes from our home. Africa is a land of contradictions, the very beautiful and then the very ugly. There's this filthy old slum. It began from a coffee plantation, and this was the workers' housing. And as the coffee plantation died, it just became a slum. There's no sewage, there's no proper running water. PVC pipes taking their water that are broken open, and there's no septic system, so that the streets are full of whatever, and it gets into the water. It's a mess. It's dirty, and kids run around in that barefoot all day. So we walk in there and we're like, God, what is our role in this? And we've all been overwhelmed by media and programs. Idol Gives Back, and all these different things that money is poured into Africa, and a lot of it, you just look and go, where did that money go? I look at Kibera slum. It's 1 million people in a square mile, and where did that money go? It's still Kibera slum. It's filthy, it's dirty, and you don't see a lot of change. So I asked God to show us what we could do to really make a difference in this particular slum that's called Mararui Slum by our house. 5 minutes away, the Windsor Hotel Golf and Resort Club, which is beautiful. Again, the contradiction. So God, I felt gave us this little assignment in this slum to see there's a lot of widows and orphans in that slum. The men die, they're drunk all day, and they end up dying very early. Women have children. There's a 12-year-old mother in our sewing program. It's almost hard to believe, but very young women with babies and no way to support them other than sleeping with men or making homemade beer. And so God gave us this vision to start this, you can use whatever phrase, maybe a micro-enterprise, some of the things that people are using, but really just buying a sewing machine. And we bought several of them in this first branch and had the ladies begin to make and sew things. We had national tailors who are very good friends of ours that we built relationship over the years. And they began sewing products that you look at these things and they're beautiful. You'd never guess they came from a slum. On my record table at the churches, they sell like crazy. It's great stuff. But now these ladies are sewing and supporting their families through this sewing ministry. Brenda really has done a great job at heading that up, training the leaders. They take them through the Word. Some of them are involved in our Bible training program at the university. And it's grown now to where we have 6 branches. And Brenda's just had a conference there in Nairobi with those ladies sewing. And there's a few guys in there as well, but mostly single ladies. And it's grown to 6 branches now. 75 women are sewing. Our Kibera branch is all HIV ladies, which is really exciting. They're making uniforms for school. And it's been very exciting to see that.
You mentioned Brenda, and Moira showed this picture off the top, and I want to show it again. Which camera? There we go. There's Brenda second from the left as we look at the picture. She looks like one of your daughters, frankly. She looks so young. But introduce your sweet daughters to us.
Well, the one on the far side there, the tall one, is 5'11". She's 14. Her name is Caitlin. And then down in the bare feet there, that's Lillian. She's 11. And then on my lap there is Kaylee. She's 9. And then there's little Braden. She's 2, and she's our Africa baby. She was born in Kenya.
Really?
Yeah. Brenda was born in Kenya. So 2 of our family born in Kenya, 2 born in Canada, and 2 born in the U.S. So we're a missions family,
you're
right?
Definitely a missions family, and
right there.
And you can be sure all 4 of your girls will have a worldview that will see them embracing the far horizon. How's it going living there, let alone raising these 4 sweet girls there?
Well, it's a